Welcome to another edition of News Bites here on Daily World Television. My name is Kal Korff and I'm your host. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has told the Trump administration that she's not going to increase the budget to ramp up more spending on NATO. Merkel has pushed back on Trump's claim that the allies in Europe are not paying their fair share. While she doesn't speak for anybody else other than Germany, it turns out Germany is keeping their promise to pay their fair share. That leaves the rest of the countries that are part of the NATO alliance in the European Union. The Trump administration has submitted to NATO a bill for about $3 billion. It is insisting that the countries cough up the money to pay that, otherwise the U.S. will not cover the gap anymore. And historically, the U.S. has always done that. It has always bailed Europe's fat out of the fire ever since World War II, and actually World War I had taken place last century. So with both sides now in a stalemate, and Germany telling Trump no, and Germany's argument is valid because they have met their quota, they're not responsible for any other country. The question now becomes, what will these other nations do? Let's say, for example, that the other nations say, we just don't have the money or we're not going to spend it. What is Trump's alternative going to be? Is he actually going to leave the NATO alliance vulnerable, including the United States, by not covering the gap and standing up to Russia? Right now, NATO is in the middle of a drastic overhaul, its first major one in many years, and they're spending lots of extra money now and deploying a lot of new hardware. They've even done it along the borders with Russia in countries like Poland, so that they can go ahead and beef up their security to try to be a deterrent against Russia. And while all of these deterrents are just theoretical, not reality in the sense that if the war ever went nuclear, it doesn't matter how many tanks you have, but this raises a very interesting question. Who's going to pay the bill? If the United States does not fill the gap, it leaves the NATO alliance, all of Europe, that's not part of Russia, and the United States vulnerable. If America pays the bill, then there's no incentive for other countries to continue to shirk their responsibilities. So this will be interesting to see how it shakes down. The one thing we will know very soon, sometime within the next 1 to 2 months, is we will have a final answer or solution one way or another. One can only guess what Russia wants. They don't mind this discontent between allies. After all, the more dysfunctional NATO is, the better it is for Russia.